having a good day. Today, we'll be discussing a very real problem in our society.
Just like the ducks, we are meant to find our soulmates in those that we love and cherish.
But what happens when those we love pass away? This is the question that I'll be answering this past hour, and how to handle it and to be a better person. This is Lifeline. Let's go. Our first topic is, what is grief? Well, grief defined by the dictionary is the loss of something or someone. Let's talk about it. Now that we have defined grief, let's talk about how we can cope with it. One of the first ways, the ways that I most recommend, is to talk to a doctor or a psychiatrist. There are many ways out there to cope and deal with chronic grief. And if you don't know what chronic grief is defined by uncontrollable sadness every time you have instances that remind you of those you've lost or things that you have lost. This can show up in ways when you look at, for instance, this door over here that reminds you of this man that you were once in love with and you were married to for 50 years. This can trigger something inside of you and make you feel sad, sorrow, or mourn. All of that is normal in this process. What's not normal is feeling those urges and sadnesses 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A few ways that you can combat this are going to the doctor, getting prescribed medication like antidepressants, although I wouldn't recommend antidepressants to everybody, because those older than 60 may have underlying health issues. But we'll tackle those in our next segment. First, we're just talking about coping with grief. Like I said, doctors are a great outlet in a way. But if you don't feel comfortable with going to a doctor, maybe try visiting a psychiatrist, or some of you would call it a shrink. They are a great listening ear and a way to help you cope with the feelings of loss and mourning. Shrinks can provide you an ear, something you may not have at home or with friends or family. Shrinks can offer you comfort, guidance, and new opportunities that you may not have known if you were just sad laying in bed all day. Another great way to cope with grief is through communities. Try to build a community of widows or people who like you who have lost the same thing or same people. Try to meet up once a week or maybe every month if you feel comfortable and talk about experiences of those people or how you've lost them and try to connect with those people. And if you can't find those people, maybe ask your grandkids or kids to help you navigate social media. You can find people through platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok. Platforms such as Facebook have things called Facebook groups. Facebook groups can help you talk to people like you who have lost the same thing. It has been reported that over 40% of people who join Facebook groups looking for a connection will find some. And if you can't find it on Facebook, you can sure find it on TikTok, where over 1 billion users use that each day, each wanting to connect with different people. You're bound to find one just like you. So, on to our next topic. What happens when you don't cope properly with grief? Coping properly and correctly when you are grieving is vital in the healing process. Those who do not cope properly offer themselves to very serious illnesses, 3 of which that come to mind, such as dementia, insomnia, and in some cases, life-threatening heart attacks. Like I said, not coping with grief can be the difference between life and death. Let's talk about it. Like I already mentioned, insomnia is a very common occurrence after grieving, which is perfectly fine. Many struggle with insomnia after the death of a loved one or losing something they cherished. But untreated insomnia can worsen or start serious conditions. As most of you know, sleep is one of the most important things the body does. It allows the body to repair and fix everything that has been broken throughout the day. It also allows the mind to renew, to rest, and the body to get energy. But if you're not sleeping, then when can the body do that? Trick question. It can't. If you aren't sleeping right, the body can't monitor why blood cells can't kill off what needs to be killed. And that's when conditions can form, like type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and risk of life-threatening heart attacks. Another condition that can come from unhealthy habits of coping or simply just not coping can be heart attacks. Have you ever heard of a phenomenon called heartbreak syndrome? Well, it's very real, and it's not something you see in movies. It can happen in real life. It can even happen to you. Heartbreak syndrome occurs when those who are mourning don't have a proper outlet or just choose not to cope with grief. Heartbreak syndrome occurs when the heart feels as though literally it's breaking. This can show itself through heart attacks, stroke, and extremely high blood pressure. Heartbreak syndrome mimics a heart attack, so you'll feel as though your heart is actually palpitating and may even be sent to the hospital. Heartbreak syndrome can land you in much more than just the hospital. It can cause real damage to the tissues and provides unnecessary strain to the heart and organs, compensating for the loss of blood flow to the body and cells. Heartbreak syndrome also can lead to real heart attacks. Because the heart is overworked and tired, and so is the body, the heart will start to compromise, and heart attacks and blockages can occur. Although heartbreak syndrome sounds like a laughing matter, it is not. Heartbreak syndrome is one of the most deadliest love-struggling diseases besides HIV that can transpire. Like I already stated, it can lead to heart failure, but also it can lead to death and land you in a nursing home monitored and hooked up to a heart machine 24/7. I think going to a therapist or a community group is better than being hooked up to a machine and unable to see your friends, family, or grandkids. If unhealthy coping habits persist, then you can acquire another illness, dementia. Let's start by defining what dementia is and what it can do. Dementia happens when a part of your brain fails to function properly. This can be memory, it can be speech, it can be anything, any part of your brain, understanding, it doesn't matter. It will be affected and harmed. Unless you know what dementia is or have come in contact with a person who has dementia, and you know how life-altering and awful it is for people around them, and especially the person going through it. Now remembering your grandkids, your kids, the year you graduated high school, the year you got married, the year you got your first promotion, or the day where you first retired. All those memories could be gone and disappear. Dementia is extremely fatal, but also sad. Studies have shown the top 3 causes of dementia are age, hereditary, and forms of grief or mourning. Dementia can be caused by grief because many people lose their cognitive function when grieving and being engulfed in their mourning when they have chronic depression or grieving. Besides that, let me just define chronic grievance for you. Like I already said, give an example of that door reminds you of Uncle Tom. Every he loves these doors, it makes you feel sad when you see him. But you feel him every day, 24 hours a day, every day of the week, for months and months and months. And that takes a toll on your brain and on your body. And stuff in your brain and nerves in your brain start to shut down, making room, or not making room, coping with the loss of Uncle Tom, for instance. Dementia, grieving dementia or mournful dementia first starts by cognitive decline. So asking simple questions like, what did you eat yesterday? What time did you go to bed? Or, what do you want to eat today? It can take you a long time to think of, or possibly you just can't find an answer for very simple questions or simple tasks. Let's think, like doing chores, dusting, sweeping. All of a sudden, simple things like washing dishes, folding clothes are hard for you to comprehend or do. Or like driving, turn signals, stop, go, gas and brakes. That can be hard for you to comprehend. Or maybe you got in a few wrecks lately. You don't know why, but it could be because cognitive decline due to chronic grieving. Now I'm aware I've given a lot of cons, but let me provide you a solution. And that solution is simply just coping. It sounds simple, but it's not. It takes a lot. First, you have to come to terms with the fact that those are things that you have lost are not coming back. And that takes a lot. That takes most a year to comprehend and to cope with. And that's completely fine, because things that you have lost that are important to you should not take days to feel better. If they really meant a lot to you, then it's okay if it takes you a year. But you cannot let that dictate and determine how your life ends or how your life goes. You need to believe in yourself. If you've made it this far, you can make it a little further. Remember a few solutions. If you feel your sleep patterns have changed drastically, and you may be developing a form of insomnia, please talk to your doctor. He or she can help you get pills for sleeping, like melatonin, or it could be something more serious, and it can develop into another illness, like I previously said. If you have symptoms of heartbreak syndrome, you can visit a doctor. I advise you to visit a doctor if you feel heart palpitations, have higher blood sugar than normal, or have symptoms of cognitive decline. Please speak to your doctor or specialist and get it checked out. If you feel uneasy about going to a doctor for medication or going to a psychiatrist for help, then here's some simple, temporary ways to cope with grief properly and healthy. One way you can do it is by prioritizing self-care through hygiene, sleep, and just allowing yourself to cry. Ways you can do self-care through hygiene are taking baths, a thing called everything showers, where you use scrubs shave maybe aromas that make you calm, like lavender for instance, and just stay in the shower. For those of you who aren't comfortable standing in showers for longer than a couple minutes, you can take everything baths. It's a perfect adaptable way for those of an older generation to take showers. Take a bath, put some bubbles, and you can put some lavender scented candles as well as just lavender spray in your restroom. Maybe pop on a movie while you take your bath, or read a nice relaxing book that you enjoy. Anything that can help calm your mind and keep it from racing or thinking about those that you've lost or things that you've lost. Be fine. Another self-care tip that I have for you is to simply meditate. Now I know meditation is laughed upon by some of you, but do not be so quick to disregard it. Meditation is an amazing way to improve your happiness and feel more confident. You can do meditation by taking deep breaths in, 1, 2, out, 2, or simply being outside like I am. Being outside and connecting through nature, through walks, meditation walks, or just being here and walking your dog, or just sitting down and looking at how beautiful nature is. Another way to cope with loss is through exercise. Exercising and letting off some sweat and some steam is scientifically proven to bring dopamine to your head, which is a hormone, really, that can go up to your head, and it's the hormone of happiness. Dopamine can help you with feelings of sorrow, of mourning, of grievance, anything negative you may feel will be on high, essentially, through exercising and bettering your body as well as your mind. And for those of you who are over 60 and feel like you can't run or you can't go run around the lake or anything, you absolutely can, but in a modified fashion. Maybe if you're not running, you can walk. Or jogging if you feel up to it. Or really, biking is a very great way to let off steam in a less physically demanding way. Biking in older generations has been proven to help with mobility, confidence, and of course, happiness through increase of dopamine. Another way to cope with loss is to not forget those you've lost. Many people will try to tell you just to forget and move on. But those that you've lost are obviously important to you and to your life. So don't forget them, cherish them, and cherish the memories that they have brought to you. But don't hang up on those. A few ways that you can help and remember them in positive and healthy ways for you and for them, or maybe donating to charities that they would like possibly, let's say, Uncle Tom again. If Uncle Tom enjoyed helping children, if he was a teacher, then you can donate to a children's society or children's shelter, helping children grow, give them clothes or socks, anything you can think of that Uncle Tom would like. Or, for instance, donate your time at a local church for Uncle Tom. Maybe going down to the children's ministry and giving your time to them. Read them books of the Bible, help them through praise and worship songs, or just pray for them in their time of need. Another way to remember those that you've lost is really talk to them. You might feel dumb or like you're going insane or going crazy, but it has been shown that just talking to them as if they were there, it's great in helping them feel closer to you, to your heart. Maybe say, Uncle Tom, remember that time, etc., etc., or hey Uncle Tom, could you, etc., etc. Maybe it doesn't have to be full conversations, or just be, Uncle Tom, I miss you. Uncle Tom, I love you. Whatever comforts you, do it. Or you could visit their grave or a place that they liked. I recommend visiting a place that they were once very fond of. Like maybe Uncle Tom loved visiting a pond or a lake to go fishing. You could go fishing at that lake with friends and family who are also close to Uncle Tom, and y'all can talk about memories and stories y'all once had. But the biggest takeaway I want y'all to take away from this whole segment is never grieve alone. You can always talk to people about how you feel. Suppressing your emotions and suppressing your sadness is a gateway to disaster. Like I already mentioned, chronic mourning can stem from suppressing what you really feel inside. Acting like you don't miss them or they never exist is never a good way to cope with grieving. So talk to communities, talk to groups who feel like you or who knew the people that you once knew. Like I said, you can find reverence in social media, in social groups, or simply just friends and family who knew them. Not only should you connect with groups that have experienced stuff like that, but also just be patient with yourself in your healing process. Give yourself grace, and don't feel like you should be okay or you should be happy. Days, or even months, or years after those years, and if you still feel chronic depression or sadness, I will advise you to speak to a doctor or a psychiatrist. There's something more serious going on in your head. But if you feel denial, maybe minimal symptoms, most people when they have lost, just don't forget to be patient with yourself and be patient with others. If you feel there are instances of those that you've loved or lost, don't forget to tell them. Don't forget to remind them. And it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to be sad, and it's also absolutely okay to be happy without them. Because remember, they would have wanted you to be happy and not grieve them for years and years. As this segment closes, let's review what we have learned. Firstly, let's recap what grief is and how it shows itself. Grief is the violence or loss of a loved one or something that you might have cherished. We also learned a few ways to cope with grief. We learned you can cope with grief through self-care, like meditation, hygiene, and putting people in your lives that you enjoy and can relate to your situation. Another form of self-coping that you can do is through exercise. Things like walking, stretching, or maybe riding a bike, if you're physically up to it, can increase dopamine levels in your brain and help you feel happier and healthier. It helps your brain as well as your body. And we also talked about how if you don't do those things, it can lead to very serious illnesses such as insomnia, dementia, and heart attacks. Grief-induced insomnia can show itself in not being able to sleep at night, feeling groggy, tired, and agitated in the morning, waking up and sleeping a full night, but just not feeling well rested. Grief-induced dementia can show itself through cognitive decline, finding it harder to do things that once were easy when your partner or a person you valued was there, such as cooking, cleaning, or just simple chores. You can find it to be harder and more challenging and difficult. And lastly, heart attacks or heartbreak syndrome. If you feel heart palpitations or irregular rise in blood sugar or high blood pressure, that can be directly linked to heartbreak syndrome because of grief. If you feel that right now, please go visit a doctor and cut this program off. If you feel any heart palpitations or if you notice a high blood pressure and feeling faint. Lastly, I want to talk about how grief is a part of life. It is a part of growing, and it makes you who you are. Don't fight grief. Embrace it like the person wants you to. Don't live in a rut, but create new routines, create new memories, new people, and always cherish the old memories with the people that you still love, and you still value, and still appreciate. Never forget how to love, but don't forget how to let go. Never forget to love yourself and be selfish sometimes. You might have spent your whole life caring for that person or doing stuff to care for them, but never forget about yourself and your worth. Remember, you can love others, but never forget to love yourself. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget to call a doctor or to cope through healthy ways like I mentioned before. Once again, my name is Lundy Matthew, and thank you for watching.